Yoga Hosers is a film directed by Kevin Smith and stars his daughter, Harley Quinn Smith, and also Johnny Depp's daughter, Lily Rose Depp. And I can't think of a filmmaker whose output I've been more disappointed by lately than Kevin Smith. And this has been happening for a while. It seems as though ever since he's left the View Askew universe behind, he struggled to find what he actually wants to do as a filmmaker. And that does not end here. This movie is painful to sit through. It's obvious while watching the film that Kevin has a lot of love for his daughter. I mean, obviously it's his daughter. And he really enjoys the relationship that Lily Rose and Harley Quinn have together, but it doesn't translate to a good story. I mean, the chemistry's there, but the storyline is not. There's just nothing happening here. And Kevin seems to be wanting to make Clueless for the new generation, but to take that style and add to it Canadian jokes, it's a bit of a hat on a hat situation. It's a funny thing and then another funny thing on top of it. And when I say funny thing, I don't mean any of that is funny, because the Canadian jokes in this film are very surface level. It's a lot of a boot, it's a lot of sorry, and it's a lot of maple syrup jokes. And that's about as deep as the Canada satire gets. And then there's Nazi bratwursts, which I don't quite understand. I don't think Kevin quite understands. And the movie just slogs along at the snail's pace. And it's tedious and grating. And it's just painful. Champion is a 2017 Christian film starring no one you've ever heard of. It's about two race car drivers. Our main character is the old school rough and tumble type. And then there's this other race car driver who is the new hot kid on the scene. And he's coming up fast on the old school guy's tail and starting to win some races. They get into an altercation on the track, and the old school guy bumps the new guy, and the new guy spins his car and dies in the accident. This leads to a downward spiral for our main character, and he starts doing drugs, prescription drugs. He starts drinking, he loses custody of his daughter, and to redeem himself, he befriends the estranged father of the other race car driver and helps him rehab this house that he and his son lived in. And then there's just a lot of melodrama. Man, this movie pegs the melodrama meter. I have a pretty high tolerance for melodrama, but this movie puts things in the character's path to create drama, it seems. There just seems to be a lot of things. They want to rehab this house. There's a list of life goals that the driver that passed away wanted to accomplish before he died. There are a lot of things going on that clash and become kind of convoluted. And the melodrama is so overwrought and sappy. The acting is not particularly good. The script is all over the place. And this movie has one of the most baffling final acts I've ever seen. The plot jumps forward in time. The little girl that our main character lost custody of is now a preteen or a teenager. She's went from being blonde to being a completely different actress that's brunette. The movie changes aspect ratios for almost no reason. It's very strange. Everyone gets along and it ends. At the very least, this movie doesn't try to pound you over the head with its message. Christian movies can tend to be a little ham-fisted that way. It doesn't look down on its non-Christian characters. So that's well done. But for the most part, this movie's just melodrama city, and no. Jojo Rabbit is the 2019 film directed by Taika Waititi, which won the Oscar for Best Adapted Screenplay. And I can see why. I really like this screenplay. The film is a sharp satire of the final days of a dictatorship. And it focuses on three different generations of this dictatorship. You have the older members of the Third Reich who are disillusioned and know that the war is coming to an end. You have these kind of middle soldiers who are mad about their situation and still have a sense that they're invincible. And then you have these younger kids who have this idealized version of what Hitler is and what the Third Reich is going to become. And this third group is where we find our main character. He's idealized Hitler to a point that Hitler has become his invisible friend. Hitler is this idealized, from a children's perspective, very friendly version of himself, very comedic. He's played by Taika Waititi. Jojo has really bought into the Third Reich's messaging. He really wants to impress Hitler, or at least his idealized version of Hitler, until he discovers that his mother has been hiding a Jewish girl in their house. And the film is this wonderful exploration of how it's easy, A, when you're a child, and B, when it's all you've ever known, that you can demonize the quote-unquote other until you meet the other and those barriers start to fall. Given youth and indoctrination, you can believe some of the most crazy stereotypes about people you don't know. But in the end, humanity always wins, and this movie is a perfect meditation on that. I thought the movie was just wonderful. That's the word I used a lot when I was describing it. I thought it was wonderful. I think it's heartwarming. I think it's really funny. It's just a wonderful, well-crafted film. I really liked it.